Hello, and thank you for joining me for this webinar. And what we're going to cover today are the basics of using EdgeRater. So if you have taken the trial version, you've done the free trial of EdgeRater on the website, you've got a 14-day free trial, or if you've previously taken a trial, then your trial has been re-enabled for until the end of January. So this will give everyone a chance to really check out the program and go through some of the features that you may not have gotten a chance to go through yet. So let's go ahead and just talk about some of the things, useful areas that you can find from the website. The first place to go for information is the support area of the website. So if you're doing the trial and you run into any questions, then always good to go to the support page. You can view the videos. The videos, if you click on view videos, you will actually bring up the YouTube channel. So this is the EdgeRater YouTube channel. All videos that have ever been produced for EdgeRater are on here and in various playlists. So a good playlist for anyone who is new to the software is the new user orientation playlist. So if you are on YouTube, you go to the playlists section and scroll down till you find new user orientation. And in there are some older videos that were done some years ago. So obviously the program does keep improving year by year. And so some of these will be a little bit out of date. So the video we're doing today, the webinar, is the most up-to-date one, but if you want to look at other older ones, you can go into here. But there's lots of videos in here for any topic or many of the topics within EdgeRater. And if you just do a search in YouTube here, you can find something on, for instance, if you were looking for something like maybe Hindenburg, you can do a search in there within the channel, and you'll find all the videos that talk about the Hindenburg omen. So that's a very useful place to find support information. So the other places are the forum. Now the forum, if you do click on go to forum, I've now added a new section in the forum called getting started. So a lot of the other posts that are in the forum are can be more detailed. And so I wanted to call out a special section for anyone who is getting started with the software. You might have some questions that you think are a bit too simple to post in the forum. It's not true. You can post any question you like in the forum. But I've really now called out a special getting started section. And I just put this on today, so there's no posts in there yet, but you can post anything in there and the question will be answered. The benefit of doing it in the forum here is that obviously anyone can then come and look at your question. They may have the similar question, and hopefully there will already be an answer. You will need to register for the forum. So there's a register button at the top of the forum page. This is not your EdgeRater registration. This is a completely separate registration. When you register, you do not have immediate access to the forum. I have to then go in and approve your registration. And sometimes the system doesn't let me be aware that there are new registrations pending. So if you could, after you've registered, just send me an email or go to the website and click on the support link and say contact EdgeRater, and just let me know that you made a registration, and I will go to the forum software and approve your registration. And the reason that I have to do that is that this forum software gets a lot of spam registrations, just bots that come in and try and register in as many forums as they can. And it's a little bit of a problem. So I have to really be careful about who I approve for access to the forum. But just send me a quick link letting me know that you made a registration, and I will enable you as soon as possible. Okay, so that's quick information on support areas, where to find information. If you need to contact me, you can use the Contact Us form on the website, enter your name, subject, and send a message. I will get that message and be able to reply to you via email. So hopefully there's a lot of information on here that will help. Right, so now if you took the trial of the software, you will have clicked on free trial. You will have filled out the information, just your email address and name and phone number. Not that I'm ever going to phone you. It's just another check for spam signups. So anyway, once you fill that out, you will be sent a username and a password that you can use with the software free for the next 14 days. And actually, for now, that's going to be until the end of January, which is longer than 14 days. But I've just extended everybody's trial to make it all very consistent. So once you've done that, you then have to download the software. And the way you do that is by going to, you'll find links in the email that get sent to you automatically. But the other way is to go to EdgeRater Pro 2020 on the website and click download free trial. And what will happen is you'll come to this page and you can actually just download the software from here. Click on download and it will download into your browser, whatever browser you're using. They will have slightly different ways of opening up software. But you can open the file, install the software, and then you'll get to do a couple of extra steps. When you install a brand new version of the software, you have to download a blank, not a blank, it will be blank, and you'll have to download some initial data. So that's an extra step that will happen. Once you've done that, and that is fairly straightforward, it's all just clicking a button, essentially, you end up with a screen that looks very similar to this. And so I want to go through and just explain what you see. So this is going to be a very basic video on how to navigate around the program, where data is stored, and how you can do basic operations in the software. And that will definitely give you a good boost in getting started here. So the first thing to note is on the bottom area of the screen, you'll find that there are four major main tabs. These are the application tabs. One is called templates, one is called reports viewer, one is called entries and exits, and one is called trade simulation. And today in getting started, I'm not going to talk at all about entries and exits and trade simulation. I'm really going to be focusing on the templates and the report viewer tab. So the templates tab, this is a main tab of the application. And this is where EdgeRater templates are all stored and where you can run them from. Now, the list of templates available is on the right-hand side in the templates library. Now, the template library has different categories. There's the what's new category. There's not really templates in there, but it's just a list of things that are new in the software. And as you click on a category, you'll find that to the left of the category, there will be a set of links that you can click on within that category. And in the what's new category, it's just information about what's new for different releases of templates. A special category here is favorites category. If I click on favorites, you'll find that I've got in here 5 templates because I have made them my favorites by clicking on the star next to them. These are templates that I would use frequently, and I don't want to have to go into all of the other categories to try and find them in order to run them. I just annotate them as being favorites, and they'll just appear in my favorites category. As you go down through the categories, you click once on the category, and to the left, the individual templates for that category will appear. If you click twice on the category, you'll actually, in the main area of the program, you'll see information pertaining to the category itself. And that should always be listed as, it will actually say category, colon, and then whatever the category is, and a description of the category, more information about what that category is supposed to contain. Okay, So if you see category like that, just remember you can get back to the actual templates by clicking on a template itself. So you can't run a category, but you can run individual templates within a category. All right, so you can go through all of these and take a look. Often you might wonder where particular templates are, or exactly what is in the entire library of templates. So if you want to find that out, you click on the Search Templates button up here. And once you click on that, you'll a web browser will open up, and it will take you to the entire list of EdgeRater templates. Okay, and that is on the website, on the EdgeRater website. You can also get to there by going to Products and then EdgeRater Templates. It's the same, takes you to the same place. And here you now have a list of all templates, and these are also segregated, categorized by their category. So you can click on the individual categories and you'll get a list of the templates and a description of each template. If you click on all, then obviously you're going to see every single template that is available. And you scroll down through this list, you'll find there's quite a few, over 100 different templates that are available to run and descriptions of what they do. If there's more information available for a template, there'll be a more info button. Not every template has more info, but if I click on the more info for seasonality, you'll see that it takes me to a page which describes seasonality trading templates. An example of a report that's produced from seasonality. And if you just let that sit for a bit, that screen should change over to show even more information. And you can also see, it will also come up with an example chart that would be shown. For seasonality, there's no specific chart, so it doesn't show. Anyway, description is down here and a template detail section over here. Okay, so let me close that browser down. So that's an important section, the template library. On the left-hand side of the screen, there is a panel for symbol lists. This also is very important. And if you look at the symbol lists panel, there is a drop-down box in here. And the drop-down box lists all of the symbol lists that are currently on your system. The symbol lists that are enclosed in square brackets are the ones at the top of the list, and they are lists that are maintained by the system. So whenever you do a data update, that list or the contents of the list is synchronized with the server. So for instance, in the CBOE weeklies list, the symbols that are in here, they change depending on whether stocks have got weekly options associated with them, and that they change fairly frequently. And so this list is kept in sync on the server, and the contents of the list are, or the symbols in that list are updated every time you do a data update, meaning that you do not want to change the symbols in this list yourself or any list that has square brackets around it, because it will be overwritten the next time you do a data update. So if you have your own lists, then for instance, there are lists that don't have the square brackets around. You can generate any list you like, and they're yours for your own maintenance. To see exactly what's in a list, you can click on this Edit Symbol List icon up here. And Edit Symbol List will tell you a lot of details about the list. So it'll tell you all of the symbols that are included in the list. It will tell you the amount of data that you currently have associated with those symbols. And that will vary depending on the data update options you have set in. So for instance, I'm looking at this list, which is S&P 1500 list, and it's telling me that this list is configured to get the most recent 2 years of data whenever an end of day data update is done. And each list will have its own configuration depending on how you've set it up. So if I look at data snapshot tab, I can see in here that I've got data. Look at, for instance, the first row here for Agilent, I've got data from January the 15th, 2020 to January the 14th, 2022. So it's exactly 2 years of data. And it's governed by the fact that it says 2 years here. I could change that to any number. I actually like to have a lot of my lists set to 10 years. I would just, if I wanted to do that, I would just set that to 10. And I can configure a data provider for this list, meaning when I update the data, where is the data going to come from? And there are several data providers, but I recommend using the EdgeRater data provider. And that's the EdgeRater premium data. So high quality end of day data is in here. And then if you click on your, whenever you make a change to options like this, just click on save to save the list again, and then click on update data. That will do your end of day update. You'll see the progress at the bottom here. If I go to the data snapshot tab, after this progress has completed, you'll see the from and the to dates will change to reflect the 10 years that I just changed this to. So that's now, if you look at Agilent now, it's January 17th, 2012 to January 14th, 2022. Now, you don't have to go to each individual list to do an update. Whenever there's new data available or new EdgeRater premium data is available, one of these traffic lights will change from green to red. And if you ever see any traffic light signal here that's red, then the button next to it, Get Latest Data, will be enabled, meaning you can just press that button and it will download from the server the information that's needed. So when I do this, we're talking about EdgeRater premium data here. It's going to download all of the data for that's associated with EdgeRater lists, and it will update every list that you have configured to use EdgeRater data with the latest data. There is another way to do a bulk update of lists. So if you're not using EdgeRater premium data and you have other data providers that you prefer to use, then you can go over to the home menu area. You can go to symbol lists. And this pops up a manage symbol lists dialog box. And you can choose all of the lists or an individual list or two. And you can then say update list data. And what will happen there is it will go to whatever data provider is configured for the lists you selected, and it will update the data from that provider. So that provider could be something like Yahoo free data. It could be something like HDSI data, or there are several other data providers that are available in the system. Data providers, by the way, are listed in this data providers box over here. You can see that these are there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 possible data providers. And I have a check mark next to EdgeRater on my system, means that for me, EdgeRater is my default data provider. So whenever I create a brand new symbol list, then it's going to be associated with EdgeRater. I don't have to go in and specifically change it. Default data provider is also useful for a couple of templates that rely on having that set. So I have mine set to EdgeRater here, and there's not really much you need to do with this when you do a default installation of the trial. You don't have to go and mess around with this screen. I'm just showing you that this is where you can configure other data providers if you need. So if I click on, for instance, Metastock provider, you'd give it a file location for your Metastock files, or ASCII. You'd give it a file location for the ASCII files, and you tell it the format of the file, which columns contain name, symbol, date, open, high, low, close, etc. And for Yahoo, there's no configuration really. It's just it will get data from Yahoo. Okay. Now, it's also interesting and useful to know where that information is stored on your computer. And the answer is it's all stored in your documents folder. So if you go to open your Windows Explorer, you'll find your documents folder, and there will be a subfolder from documents called EdgeRater. And under EdgeRater, there's several folders of interest, but the one that I'm interested in now is the symbol lists folder. And this contains text files which just contain the symbols for that particular list. So if I look at, for instance, the S&P 1500.txt list, and I can open that up in Notepad, I can see it's just a list of symbols and the name of the stock. So symbol, comma, name, symbol, comma, name, each stock on a separate line. That's the format of a symbol list. So you could create your own symbol lists by just adding a file into this folder, into the symbol lists folder, and put the symbols you want into that file. Or you can create your own list by going over to EdgeRater and clicking the new list button over there. That will, under the hood, go and create a brand new file in the symbol lists folder that you can then that will then store the symbols for your list. Okay, so you notice there was no data associated in that file. It was just a text file of symbols. And so whenever you do an update of data, the data is stored in a data snapshot. And the snapshots are all in the EdgeRater snapshots folder. And so I've clicked on the snapshots folder here, and now I'm looking at the contents, and you'll find that there are 2 files per symbol list. So for the, let's see if we go down and find the S&P 1500 list we were just looking at. There are 2 files. One is called a .erd file. That's your data file. And one is an ERI file. And that's just a system file to allow fast access to the data. It's an index file essentially into that data. But the actual data is stored in the ERD file. And the size of those files can get quite large depending on how much data you've fetched. For the S&P 1500, there are 1500 symbols in there, and I just downloaded or populated that with 10 years of data, and that came out to 145 megabytes of data. But that's where all of that information is stored, and sometimes it's useful to just be aware of where that is. You don't. It's very rare that you would actually need to go and look at it, but if you have questions about data, then it's nice to know where it's actually stored. We covered symbol lists and templates. Oh, while we're on the file system, I should actually go and show you one other folder. There is a folder in here called templates, and under templates there is a system folder. System is all of the templates that are delivered with EdgeRater. It says all of the templates that you saw in the list that I showed a minute ago. I'll just try and show that again. Hang on 1 second. Here we are. Yep. So here is the list of templates under the different categories, and they are all stored on your file system in the templates system folder. It's under system because the system files are the actual templates that are maintained by EdgeRater and are updated whenever you do a data update. If there's an update to a template, it will also update the file here. If you have your own templates, and it's quite straightforward to write your own template for scanning for stocks using your own specific criteria, then you would put them in the root templates folder here, and then you won't have to worry about them being overwritten when you do a new data update. So you can put any file in here. If you do put a file in here, then it will appear as a special category of templates called My Templates. And you'll see it's empty on my system. And the reason is I don't have any, as you just saw, I do not have any templates in the root folder, the root templates folder. But if I did, so say for instance, and by the way, anything that starts with category is a category file, and it's not an actual template. But the actual templates are here. Something like free parking is a template. And if I put that into the root templates folder, it would appear under my templates. I'm not going to do that right now, but that's how you create your own templates, essentially. And if you are creating your own templates, it's best to start with a well-known starting point. And so there's a category called starter templates. And there's a starter last bar template. Last bar template is basically giving you information about the last bar of a stock, and it can scan very, very quickly through an entire symbol list and get the last bar information for any indicator or any script that you've written for yourself. And there are quite a few templates of that type in the system, and we'll look at some of those in a moment. So I'm assuming that everybody would have been able to get to the point of doing the installation, downloading the initial data setup, and getting to this screen of templates. So once you've got to that point, I'm going to suggest following along with what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to select a symbol list called CBOE Weeklies. I use this list because it is a list of very active stocks. These are all stocks that have weekly options associated with them, and it's a list of around 600 stocks. So so I like to use this a lot because of just it is a very active set of stocks. And it's not a huge list. It's only 600. So a lot of these scans will actually run very, very quickly. There is, if you look at the All USA, that's a list of approximately 8,000 stocks. That's obviously it's a bit bigger. For demonstration purposes, I don't tend to run scans on that list because it just takes a few seconds longer. Which it's really no point in doing that for a demonstration, but you can certainly use the All USA list for your own scanning if you like. But I would recommend honing down onto a smaller, more appropriate list of stocks. So let's take CBOE Weeklies. The first thing I'm going to do is run a there's a template that's just going to show some very basic information. It's called the good, the bad, and the ugly template. You will find that I have that in my my favorites category, but you'll find that in and I should say this is a very good use of when you go to the EdgeRater website and you go to your template gallery. If you're looking for a specific template, you can type in the name. So I could type in the good, the bad, the ugly, and it will come up with the template, and it will show me here it's in the hot topics category. So to find it in the EdgeRater, then I look at the hot topics category. I open up and I can find it here, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can see that the star next to it is checked here. It's a gold color. So that's how it's one of my favorite templates. If I make the star gold, then the template appears in favorites. So let's add another one. Let's add free parking. Let's put that into the put a star by there, and that now also appears in my favorites. If you want to remove something from favorites, you just uncheck it. It doesn't immediately remove, only when you refresh favorites. So if you go to another category and go back again, then you'll find that it's only going to show me things that are currently favorite. Okay, so going back to the good, bad, ugly template. So we've selected our symbol list. We've found the template we want to run. We go up to the top here and we make sure that the templates menu is showing. And then it's just a simple case of running that template. Always when you run a template in EdgeRater and there's some processing going on, the bottom area, bottom left, take a look down there. Progress bar will just show you the current progress, so you have an idea of how long it's taking. Some templates take longer to run than others. Okay, but the good, bad, ugly is a good point to start, because it basically shows a lot of very basic information, but it gives you a very good idea of what's happening in the market with different stocks. And the idea is that you've got a set of columns in here with the current day. So the current day is always the very last bar. So and it's always sorted by default by the last day. Okay, you've also got week to date, month to date, and year to date. Then you've got the prior days. So 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, etc. Prior weeks, prior months, and prior years. So a whole lot of information in here. Each one of these columns and the way in general that you can navigate in EdgeRater reports is by looking at this header row and just clicking, single click on the header row. So the first time you click on the header row, it's going to sort in one direction. The second time you click, it's going to sort in the reverse direction. All right. So by doing a simple click in year to date, and I'm clicking it twice now because I want to see what has gained the most year to date, then we immediately see, and we can take a look at some of these. Now we do have to be aware that sometimes there are splits that occur, and so they are not always reflected immediately in the back history. So we have to maybe ignore some of these. But then you come down to Zinger here, and even we'll just go to ERX here. So this has a 35% gain year to date. So yeah, we're in January only at the moment. So so the gain it's talking about is from the very first of the year until today. So you can see these are the strong stocks of the year. Now in EdgeRater, whenever you're looking at a report, and that's the distinction between a template and a report. The template is the thing that you run to generate the report. So templates are over in the templates tab. Okay, I run this template. I go to the reports viewer. This is the report generated from that template. Now, navigation of a report is done by either clicking in a cell in the report, and the chart will update normally because reports are linked to charts. And so whenever I click in a cell, or even not clicking with the mouse, I can even just use my keyboard to go down through the list. So now I'm using my keyboard down arrow to go down through this list. So I can quickly just go down and see and get an immediate, and I'm not sure if this is coming over on Zoom as quickly, and you're getting a refresh as quickly as it's appearing on as it would appear on your screen if you were running the software. But yeah, it's immediate, so you can quickly go down and just scan through the stocks down here. So the good, bad, ugly report is not linked to any specific layout of chart. It's just going to show whatever indicators you had on the chart before you started navigating through this report. And I happen to have the 220 EMA layout on here, but let's talk about charts. This is another important area of using the program. So the chart on the top menu, you'll find there's a show chart button, and when you press that in, it's going to either show the chart or hide the chart. I tend personally to always have the chart shown, so it's always there. You can hide it. There's a couple of other buttons up there too. there's the chart multi-menu, and I can choose to turn that on or off. And these buttons down here next to show chart are all about just trying to get some more screen real estate. If your chart is looking a little too busy and is taking up a lot of area, for instance, here I've got this menu up the top here. I've got another menu down here. I've got things on the side. Well, that it can be simplified if we're not using multiple charts. So we can turn that off, and we can turn off these panels on the side, and it just simplifies the chart. But one setting that I do tend to have set on mine is to have these config panels turned on. And it really depends on your screen size, if you have enough real estate to show all that information. So if you don't see that, these panels down here, just remember to go up to the menu and turn on those panels. So let's go through these panels and what information they're going to show you for the chart. So the first thing is I'm going to first of all go to chart layouts. I think that's quite a useful thing. These are pre-configured layouts that are in EdgeRater already. And each one of these layouts has a set of indicators associated with it. Whenever I click on the layout, it's going to change the chart, and it's going to add the indicators on associated with that layout. These are all pre-configured in the system. You can generate your own as well. And if you do generate your own, they will appear in My Layouts. There's a section in here called My Layouts. And you see I have 3 in here, basically a line chart with moving average of 50-200, a 50 period moving average and 200 period moving average. And I have a %B cross layout. These are these ones I've specially configured myself. So you won't have these in yours. But if you ever want to generate your own layout, then it's a simple matter of just pressing this Save Chart Layout button up here and giving it a name. I'm not going to do that here because it's a layout that I already have. So let's create a brand new chart layout. Okay. So the way to do that is, sometimes you like to start with a completely blank chart. A good way to get a completely blank chart is to go back up to show the multi menu, and then click on this little 1 icon, single chart. It will just reset your chart and remove all your indicators. It's a little trick way to get a blank, no indicator chart. And I will turn that off. I don't often use that. Okay, so now if I'm going to add a script, there are quite a few scripts in here. So if I pop out the little layout, the chart scripts panel, I can pin it. If I don't pin it, it's just going to go back in to the side whenever I click on something else in the program. But if I pin it, it's going to stay out permanently. And if I close it, it's going to go back to the side. So you can pin it if you are using it. But obviously it takes up a bit of screen real estate when it's popped out like that. So you can mostly have it collapsed. Now, in the chart scripts, there are system indicators. There are system scans. There's a bunch of scripts to do with high probability ETF trading. There's a bunch of candle pattern scans pre-configured. And then there's HK scripts. This is an EdgeRater user, Henry, who has written a lot of scripts and has kindly allowed us to include them in the program so that anybody else can use his scripts. But there are quite a few in here. Okay, and to find out, they're not all sort of described as to what they do, but you can go to the EdgeRater forum on the website, and he has written some posts about a lot of these. All right, so let's go up to system indicators. And I'm just trying to generate, my purpose here is to add some indicators to the chart and then save those indicators as my own personal layout. So for instance, say I'm interested in Arun. How do I add the Arun indicator to the chart? So rune is an indicator that belongs in a sub area of the chart. If I double click on a rune, the default action is to add the indicator to the sub area of the chart. So it appears in a sub area. If the average true range is another indicator that belongs in a sub area. So that if I double click on it, that will appear in its own sub area too. There are indicators that do not belong in the sub area. For instance, Bollinger Bands. So I don't want to double click. If I double click on Bollinger Bands, I'll show you what will happen. It's put Bollinger Bands in a sub area. That's not what I want to do here. So that just allows me to show you how to remove an indicator, a sub area. So I click on the sub area, make sure the bar is highlighted here, go up to the top and click on the button, remove chart area. Okay. Bollinger Bands, I want to put in the main area. And I do that by just dragging it over to the main area. So now the Bollinger Bands are over in the main area. Now, indicators can have parameters. For instance, ATR has a parameter of 14. And if I want to change that parameter, I can pop out the formula parameters panel over here. And now the formula parameters panel will update based on whatever chart is highlighted. So I've highlighted the main area here. And so Bollinger Bands appear in the formula parameters. If I highlight the Arun, then I've got the Arun appears over here with the parameters. I can change the parameters in here. Maybe I want to have 10 period Arun. As soon as you change it, you see the indicator does immediately update. And I have ATR. Maybe I want a 20 period ATR. Okay, so once I've set everything up, I've got the chart looking the way that I like it, then I can choose to save this as a layout. So then I would go save chart layout, and I'd call this my special layout. And I could put spaces in there. Maybe that would be nice, my special layout. And now if I look under chart layouts, under my layouts, I have my special layout. I click on it and it has applied that layout to the chart. Well, that was already the layout on the chart, so it didn't change. But if I change it to a different layout and then go back to my special layout, you can see that you've now got all of those indicators saved for quick access. All right, so another template then. So that was the good, bad, ugly template. Okay, very basic template, giving you some very basic information about every stock in your list. There is another template that is quite popular, the 220 EMA upside breakout template. I'm just going to run this on, again, the CBOE weeklies list. Note the bottom left-hand progress bar telling me how quick that is running. And you'll notice now once it's finished running, it's switched over to the reports viewer. And it's added this report in addition to the good, bad, ugly report. So it hasn't removed anything. It's just added another report into this list of reports. And it's useful to have multiple reports in here. They are all linked together, actually. So this report, the 220 breakout, has its own chart layout associated with it. You'll notice the chart updated with that layout already. Okay, so if I go to the very top of the list, it's showing me at the moment the stock that has the highest percentage gain according to the 220 EMA breakout trading strategy. So currently it's Ford, and since the entry date on 12/28/21, and we'll find that if we go to the bottom area of the chart, which is is giving you a 1 value when this trade is on and a 0 value when the trade is not on. So the last trade here was 12/28. You can see my highlight arrow down here, 12/28. And that's exactly what it's showing up here in the report. Okay, but since 12/28, when the value was, entry price was 20.99, and we can see that on the chart. Okay, 20.99. And then, and currently we're at 25 points. Well, what was the last price? Was 25.97. So if we go over to, scroll this over to the left, we'll see the close price on Friday, January 14th, was 25.19. And so it's showing me then the gain over between those two dates, essentially. And then if I go down through this list, it's just going to show me all of the gains. So these stocks have, according to this 220 EMA breakout system, these stocks are all in fairly nice gains territory. Now, in order to find out more about the 220 breakout system, you can go back over to the template itself. And there is a link to an article. And this is all based on an article that was in the Stocks and Commodities magazine. There's a link to the article here. You can also take a look at the EdgeRater YouTube channel that I mentioned before. And that has videos that I've previously done on the 220 EMA breakout system. If we look at, I'm just going to try and bring that over here. Hang on one second. All right. So yeah, so here is the YouTube channel. And by the way, please do subscribe to this channel. And you will get notified of new videos as they are added. And videos are added fairly frequently into this channel. The most recent ones are here. If you look under uploads, developing a script to fire an event, how reports are linked to chart layouts, all good information in here. So when you come in here, please do subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I'm already subscribed to this channel, so I don't have that ability, but please go ahead and do that, and you'll be notified when new videos are added. But there was a reason I wanted to come here, and that was because I wanted to just show that if you start typing in within this channel for, let's just try EMA breakout, or just try breakout. Let's see if that happens. Yeah, then there's a few videos in here about the 220 EMA breakout, a couple of webinars that were done. So quite a good set of information in here. And you'll find lots of good information in the YouTube channel. Also, don't forget, and I will be updating this in the list of templates. If you're looking for, say, well, so we know it's under the technical analysis of stocks and commodities task. So we know that 220 is in there. It doesn't have a more info link at the moment, but these are currently undergoing some updates. So I'm going to provide information in here that will give additional links for the templates. So right, so this report is linked specifically to this chart layout. So here's a good way of if you have multiple reports shown, you can, I'm going to drag this with my mouse, and then I'm going to place one report below the other. And the reason this is useful is that reports and charts are all linked together. So as I'm looking at, or I've selected a cell in the 220 EMA upside breakout report, any other report that's open will scroll to show that symbol at the top of the report. And because reports all have different information in them, you can then, it's a very nice way of having lots of different information specifically that you're interested in shown in different reports. And the other thing is, if the other report was also linked to a specific chart layout, then you can just quickly go up to the report itself and click on the top row, because that's what's been scrolled into view, and that will update with the layout that's been designed for that report. But as I said earlier, the good, bad, ugly report doesn't have a layout specifically associated with it. But let's then move on to one that does. So let's take the expected move report. And I'm going to just quickly run this. Take a look at the bottom left. You'll see the progress as it's going through all of the stocks in this list, calculating the data that's required for this report. When it's finished, it will bring this up in the reports viewer. And right now it's put it next to the good, bad, ugly up here. You see that? I can just, I can close any of these down, or I can just leave them open. It doesn't really matter. Now, so I'll go back to the upside breakout. I'll select forward again. And now the expected move for the next 30 days is in here. I can click on the expected move for the next 30 days, and the chart is now going to update to show me the layout specifically that's been configured for this report. And that's a layout that has options implied volatility. It has the expected move bands here. That's the purple bands. And if I expand this chart by saying expand right days to, let's say, 60, and now I've got extra space over on the right-hand side, it's giving me a cone over here, the cone of probability, which is essentially where options traders think the price will be within one standard deviation, up or down. So it gives you a good idea as to where price will be at any future point. And if I want to go back to the other layout, I'll just click on forward down here, and that's the other layout. Now, sometimes you might want to click on the report and you don't want the chart to update with a new layout. And so the way you stop that from happening is you turn off linking to template layout. That's a button on the chart. So with that turned off, now if I click on the 220 upside breakout template report, it's going to stay with the layout that was previously on the chart. If I turn that back on and then click on the report, it's going to update with the layout that's been designed for that report. Okay, so I think we've gone through a lot of information here. We talked about where you install the software from, where to find support information. If you're going through the trial and you're having some issues, then obviously you go to the support page on EdgeRater. There is a brand new category now in the forum called Getting Started. I added this today, so I'll be monitoring this for anybody who's taken the trial. If you have questions about your experience with getting started, post them in there. Is better. It's better to post them in there than to send an email. You can send an email, but it's better to post them because it helps other people, because other people tend to have similar questions. And remember to join the forum, click on the register button, and then just let me know via email that you've registered, and I will go right in and enable your login for the forum. So we talked about that. We talked about where data is stored on the hard drive. We talked about symbol lists. Another aspect of where data is stored. So all data is stored in the documents folder under EdgeRater. We already talked about the symbol lists folder, the snapshots folder, and the templates folder. Now, whenever you run a template, it generates a report that appears in EdgeRater, but it also puts that report into the reports folder. So everything I've just run today, I'm going to sort this by date modified, is an Excel file, and it's stored on the hard drive in the reports folder. Periodically, you should go in there and clean that out, because it will just take up drive space, and you probably don't need every single report that you've ever generated. So it's a good idea occasionally to go in there and clean that out. But it's useful to have that information, because you then have a record of all of the scans that you've done. And I could open this up in Excel if I double clicked on it, or I could just open it up in EdgeRater. It's actually better to have it in EdgeRater because of all of the special linking that you get with between reports. But if you ever want to open these reports up in Excel, you can then start playing around with the reports and doing your own Excel calculations. If you're experienced with Excel, you might find that to be useful and interesting, and you can create your own kind of Excel charts as well. So that's another nice way to use the data. Okay, so I think we've covered everything. We talked about the reports, how the reports are linked. We talked about charts, how charts are linked, how to add indicators to charts. We covered a lot of ground. I appreciate you staying for the full hour here. And if you have any questions, I'll take questions now. If there's no questions now, that's fine. And you can email me or make an entry in the forum, and I will get to it. But I'm really keen to help you get started with your trial of the software and just get you on that to a point where you're proficient in using the software and are able to really enjoy using it and find some great opportunities for trades. So if there are no questions at the moment, then I will say good night or good day and enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, thank you. Thanks, Brian. And thank you, everybody, for attending. I will be posting this recording, and you'll get a link to the recording. And it will probably end up in the YouTube channel that I just mentioned. So please do remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay, and then I do see a question. Any template for long-term trend? Any template for long-term trend? Oh, yeah, so let's take a look. There is, I'll bring back over to the, I'll bring back over here my browser, and I'll just take a look at EdgeRater templates on here. And I have all selected here. So if I just did a search on this page for trend, trend, the thing that comes up in here is the Guppy multiple moving average template. You can see that's in the hot topics category. That does deal with long-term trend. Actually, Guppy talks about different trends, short-term, long-term. So let's go to hot topics. And we'll find the Guppy MMA. It's right there. And we'll run that. Okay, and so if you're familiar at all with Guppy multiple moving averages, then this will make some sense. If not, then you can look at it. Here's the template report down here. So you're talking about whether things are in persistent uptrends or whether they're in sort of temporary uptrends. Guppy has this idea of investors versus traders. So investors being more longer term, the investor group, and then traders being more shorter term. They're highlighted on the chart here with blue being traders and the black lines being the investor group. And so this template will give a good indication as to long-term trends. One of my favorite things for long-term trends, though, is actually the linear regression template. And you should definitely check out the YouTube channel for the linear regression template. It's one of the most viewed videos there. I think people really understand and gravitate to that information. So I'll give you a chance to go and check that out on your own. I'll just show you where it is. So if we go to here and you type in linear regression, then we've got the linear regression, standard deviation channel analysis, also in hot topics. That's a great template for looking for short to long-term trends. Okay, it does warrant a whole hour on its own, but it is very straightforward once you see what's going on. So check out the videos on the linear regression, standard deviation, channel analysis, and hopefully that will be helpful. Again, if you have any questions, post your questions in the forum, or send me, or go to, when I say send me an email, you can actually go to the support page here and click on contact us, and you'll get the name. You'll enter your name, your email. Make sure you get that right, because if you don't get that right, I will not be able to reply to you. That's very important. And then enter your message. So sometimes it's actually better to just use your mail software and mail me, because then the return address is guaranteed to be correct. But if you're 100% sure that you're going to type it correct in here, go ahead and use this. And it will come to me. Otherwise, you can email me directly, chrisw@edgerater.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have there. So, and there are, yes, there are sector rotation templates. Again, we would go to look at products templates. You'd go into rotation. So relative strength, ranking, and indexing. This is a Pro Tools template in the Pro Tools category. This is a very, very good template for picking out a rotation. Again, there's a video in the YouTube channel about that, but very one of the most powerful templates in the system. It does warrant a good hour on its own, though. And I will try and get to some of these. I think it's time to refresh some of the videos anyway, and so it seems like we have some new users, and so I'll be happy to go through and talk about those in the coming weeks as well. So look out for more invites to webinars from me, and again, thank you for attending. Have a great rest of the day. Okay, yep, thanks, Shashi, thank you. And thanks, Brian, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye for now.